Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We request you all to please kindly take your seats. We shall be shortly beginning with the press conference. If you may kindly ensure that should you be carrying any mobile phones, they are on airplane mode or vibration. Before we begin, just a few housekeeping announcements. This is a 30-minute press briefing. The session will open with the remarks from our distinguished speakers, followed by a short Q&A. We request all members of the media to please identify themselves and their organizations before posing a question. Kindly keep your questions concise and relevant to today's discussions and that of the International Solar Alliance. Photography and videography are permitted. However, please avoid using a flash or moving around during the remarks. Excellencies, dignitaries, members of the media, colleagues and guests, a very warm welcome to you all. We are delighted to host you here at the official press conference of the 8th Assembly of the International Solar Alliance, taking place in New Delhi, Republic of India. Today's assembly has witnessed high-level participation, insightful deliberations and important announcements, including the presentation of the Director General's report, the launch of new initiatives, and the Honorable President of India's keynote address, reaffirming ISA's vision to make solar energy a unifying force for global development. It is now my honor to share key highlights of the day's proceedings with you. May I take this opportunity to introduce our esteemed speakers for the press briefing. We are joined by His Excellency Shri Prahlad Joshi, the Honorable Union Minister, New and Renewable Energy, Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, and President of the ISA Assembly. His Excellency Mr. Benoit Fahako, Special Envoy for Climate, French and Europe and Foreign Affairs, representing the co-presidency of the ISA Assembly. Mr. Ashish Khanna, Director General of the International Solar Alliance. Honorable Ministers from ISA member countries, and Honorable Secretary, MNRE, Government of India. We begin with the opening remarks from Mr. Ashish Khanna, DG ISA. Sir, the floor is yours.
Welcome, everyone. It's an honor to have my first assembly as Director General. Thank you very much. A lot of you from the media were here when I was sitting on the corner seat last year as the elector. What we are doing now, this year, is translating ISA, building on the strengths of moving from ambition to action. As we discussed in the session with Honorable President of India, which a lot of you would have seen is the first ever visit from a head of state of India since 2018, when ISA was launched, that reaffirms the importance India assigns to the role of solar and ISA's ability to convene member countries. We are in this assembly looking at moving from ambition to action. As part of that, a new strategy that looks at platforms for convening countries, whether it is SIDS, where 16 countries will begin a joint procurement, whether it is Global Solar Facility that starts with Africa Solar Facility, a $200 million fund to get private sector to invest in decentralized renewable energy in Africa, including solar pumps for food security. Whether it is One Sun, One World, One Grid, which will be the new platform being launched in the Assembly today. And also forums for bringing all the countries together to share the best practices of knowledge. We will be launching Sunrise, which is an initiative for recycling of solar and battery waste, bringing all the 125 countries together as partners for shared standards and businesses. In this era of critical minerals, if we can get the business model for recycling right, that can solve a lot of problems of critical minerals. We will bring countries together on using our capacity building initiatives of StarSea that are being aligned to a Silicon Valley for solar, which is the dream that will start with IT-enabled learning platforms, both through YouTube channels and a global capability center that will be unveiled during the assembly. There is a right for almost 8 billion people to have access to same information to pursue solar and know about it as well. We will also be launching some of the thought leadership of ISA during the assembly. We have worked on our perspective of global solar trends, of where the entire solar batteries and new technologies are headed in next 3 to 5 years. We have also ranked all our 124 member countries on ease of doing solar across 7 key parameters that will be released. And we are also launching a special edition of a research journal focused on developing world, because we will really like the youth of developing world to start focusing on research areas that are very relevant. This will be done through Solar Compass. We will also be launching annual green hydrogen industry update and a floating solar handbook for all countries who want to do floating solar. So a lot of new initiatives being launched, and we really look forward to collaborating together with all our 125 member countries, because they are asking us to move from ambition to action, with all our private sector partners, multilateral development banks, because we cannot do it alone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, DG, for those insightful reflections on ISA's progress, partnerships, and the path ahead. I now invite His Excellency Mr. Benoit Fahako, Special Envoy for Climate, French, Europe and Foreign Affairs, representing the co-president of the ISA Assembly, to deliver his remarks.
Thank you, and good morning to all. I'm so happy to be here and to co-chair with India this 8th session of the General Assembly of the International Solar Alliance. 10 years ago, in the corridor of the Paris Agreement, India, France, and a few other countries had this very visionary idea about the International Solar Alliance. We were negotiating the Paris Agreement, a global framework to fight climate change, and in a way, France and India knew that the Paris Agreement will not be enough. Of course, we have the Paris Agreement, our compass to fight climate change, but we need action and implementation. And when we are preparing this year COP30 in Brazil, with the objective to accelerate action about climate change, we must say that I'm very impressed by all the work that have been done with the International Solar Alliance over the last 8 years with, after its creation by Prime Minister Modi and President Macron. And I think this very strong commitment, which started with a small group of countries, I know it's more than 120 gathered here today, demonstrates that on this planet there is a majority of countries who wants to act and that international cooperation still matters. Of course, we have turbulence at the international level. Of course, we don't agree on everything, but on this particular topic, solar energy, we have unity. And that's the beauty of the International Solar Alliance, and we are very proud of the work that has been done by India over the last 8 years, because when we look today what is the situation, we all acknowledge that solar is already at market. It's the best economic solution to energy sovereignty, to eradicate energy poverty, to clean air, to mitigate climate change. It's, I mean, the Rolls-Royce of climate solution, and I'm so happy to be here with you all today. Of course, if we consider that solar is already at market, we should question why do we need still an international solar alliance. And this session this morning demonstrated that for the next decade, this international solar alliance will be very needed. I will not repeat what has been presented, but some critical issues are behind us to be resolved. For instance, grids. It's super important to enhance solar penetration into grids, and it's a common problem we face in Latin America, in Africa, in Asia, and there is so much we can learn from each other that it's super relevant. Critical mineral, open market for critical mineral. Recycling as a good opportunity to have sovereignty also on critical mineral. That's a trending topic that will make us work for years and years in order to collaborate. And my last point, of course, will be on Africa, because even in Africa, solar is the cheapest energy sources, there is a big gap in investment in Africa. And I think France, India, and all our African partners here are here to solve this problem by bringing innovative finance solution, but also investing in people in order to make solar a solution for all. So I'm so happy to be here with you today, because 10 years before COP30 in Brazil, France, India, and all participants here today already decided that implementation was a top priority, and we are delivering. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency, for sharing your valuable perspectives. And now, may I request the President of the International Solar Alliance Assembly, Shri Prahlad Joshi, the Honorable Union Minister, New and Renewable Energy, Government of India, to share his perspectives.
Good afternoon. Welcome to you all members of media, colleagues and friends. I'm very happy to address you at this momentous opening day of the 8th session of International Solar Alliance here in Bharat Mandapam. As already mentioned, today morning, Honorable President of India, Honorable Srimati Draupadi Murmuji addressed the ESA Assembly for the very first time. Her keynote set an inspiring tone for the discussion, reaffirming that solar energy is not just a technology of progress, but force for the inclusion of dignity and shared prosperity. The International Solar Alliance, as you all know, launched by India and France at COP21 in Paris. Now, 125 members, signatory countries, and common mission. And out of 125 member countries and signatory countries, nearly about 120 countries have here participated in this Bharat Mandapam today. To make solar energy the cornerstone of the fair, affordable, and sustainable energy future, ISA is working out, and what began as a vision now matured into a powerful platform of the action, mobilizing the finance, sharing the knowledge, and driving the innovation across the countries. Today's assembly also marked the decisive shift from the ambition to implementation. As already mentioned by DG, we announced the launch of Sunrise, the solar upcycling network for recycling, innovation and stakeholder engagement, a new global initiative to turn solar and battery waste into an opportunity for circular growth. Innovation and green employment. We also launched dedicated One Sun, One World, One Grid, OSOWOG program, establishing a vertical within the ISA to accelerate the regional solar interconnections. The OSOWOG initiative is an ambitious initiative proposed by India under the guidance and the leadership of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, and spearheaded by International Solar Alliance, ISA, a detailed study has identified the priority corridors linking the East Asia, South Asia, Middle East, Europe, and Europe, Africa, with feasibility assessment work to begin soon. Another significant step forward is unveiling the Global Capability Center and ISA Academy, which together form a backbone of ISA's capacity building vision. A Silicon Valley for solar connecting the center of excellence called STAR, S-T-A-R. C-cross member countries through AI-driven multilingual and inclusive learning pathways. The ISA Assembly will democratize the access of solar knowledge, empower the local talent, and help every nation to build its own skilled solar workforce. We are also committed to harmonizing the standards and testing of the solar across the ISA member countries in partnership with the National Institute of Solar Energy, NICE. ISA's flagship financing vehicle through $200 million African Solar Facility is also soon on the course to be launched soon. And India's leadership in the world of solar under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's guidance has led us to be ranked third globally in solar power generation, having achieved 50% of the installed capacity from non-fossil sources, 5 years ahead of its 2030 target, by avoiding nearly 4 lakh crore or about 46 billion US dollars in fossil fuel imports and pollution-related costs. India's transition demonstrates that clean energy is not a cost, but the investment in growth, health, and human potential. As the President of ISA Assembly, India remains firmly committed to enabling, not prescribing or empowering every nation to define its own path to substantiality. More than 761.8 gigawatt lies within the member countries of the ISA, accounting nearly 41% of the solar global capacity. This rapid scale-up of the solar deployment reflects the historic success story in making the clean energy affordable and accessible. Through initiatives such as aggregated procurement under the SIDS platform, the Africa Solar Facility, Sunrise, Global Capacity Center, and OSOWOG program, the ISA is driving the practical collaborative solution that take the solar from the margins to the mainstream. In Sub-Saharan Africa and small island nation, millions still live without reliable electricity. Bridging this divide demands the collective ambition and equitable finance. India invites all partners of the ISA to join this mission to energize and empower the new global energy order together. Together, we are shaping the future where every home, school, and farm can be empowered by sun, where the circularity and equity define our growth, and where the energy of the global south light the way for the world. I thank you once again. Welcome to you all. Now, you can raise the question, and as far as ISA is concerned, DG will reply, and this is mainly related to ISA only.
Sir, good afternoon. I'm Setu from Reuters. So just wanted to check, like, how you're going to move India's manufacturing ecosystem. Like, how do you think that India's solar manufacturing ecosystem will be utilized by ISA into the newer markets where you have like a lot of new member countries, like nearly 125 countries. So do you have some plans on that? Because there's a lot of discussions about overcapacity in India, at least in terms of the modules is concerned. But is there any plans? Because there's also in the member countries that you have, like there's also strong China's presence. So how do you think that, have you already been in touch with companies in India to take them there, or in terms of having the companies who can execute projects in your member countries? And also I want to understand what is the target, capacity target that you're aiming in your member countries over the next couple of years? So this will be helpful, thank you.
So your question may have multiple levels. The first part is, what do a lot of our countries really need? And one initiative that we feel a lot of countries, especially from Africa, really need is on solarization of agriculture. Less than 4% of arable land is irrigated in Africa, leading to $400 billion of food imports. And the big program of Kusum, which is looking at more than 3.5 million pumps to be replaced, is a very good learning opportunity to connect countries. And that leads to manufacturing capabilities and manufacturing options as well. Second question is, for manufacturers to invest in countries, they need assurance of risk of not getting paid. That is why the Africa Solar Facility that ISA is launching is very important, because often the risk in Africa and small island developing states is perceived. Some of these countries are paying the tariff of 30 US cents. That's almost 25 rupees. So people are either paying 25 rupees in India equivalent for tariff or having diesel. So if any solar comes, it will be less than half of that particular cost. Therefore, the actual risk is minimal, but you need a financial instrument to provide risk mitigation support for the first investment. That is the purpose of Africa Solar Facility. The third piece, which even Indian manufacturers are very keen, do you have teams on the ground that can actually help on the policy side? So for the countries that have country partnership strategy, 10 of them I mentioned, 6 of them are in Africa, we are going to set up our local offices and local teams there, working across the government on policy and regulatory reforms that can enable the private sector. And the final point is that whether it links to all kind of solar PV panels, a lot of it is going to be about cost competitiveness. If Indian manufacturers, whether you're on solar pumps, DRE, large-scale solar, as they are internationally competitive, the whole market is being open for them.
Before we move to the next question, we would urge that you please keep your questions concise and to the point. So make sure you introduce yourself, your publication, and then pose your question.
Hi, sir. This is Taposh Bhattacharya from Doordarshan. I have two questions, actually. First, could you tell us the business model of the Africa Solar Facility and also the hydrogen facility that Sir just mentioned, and the latest on the China's membership in ISA?
So on Africa Solar Facility, often what countries need are very unique to those countries. Let me give you an example of Nigeria. In Nigeria has world's largest energy access deficit anywhere, about 90 million people, 9 crore. More than half of them are going to get energy through mini grids and decentralized renewable energy. Now, private sector is moving from 100 mini grids to 10,000 mini grids, but they need financing for that. Now, debt is available, but equity is not available. So their own sovereign wealth fund is creating a $150 million facility to invest in equity. The board of NSIA said, why don't you partner with a very credible international agency who's going to come with you? So they are asking 10% of that from ISA's Africa Solar Facility to enable their 150 million and the debt. So that's a leverage of 30. That gives you an example. On your second question, we are very open to membership of China as well. the ball is in China's court. I think if ISA can have China, we would have covered 90% of the entire solar market, so we welcome their partnership.
Hi sir, Tarun Sharma from Tarun Sharma from Z Business. I have two questions. Will there be any discussion during this event about tying up with the Multilateral Development Bank for low-cost loan? And second, this question to Minister sir. Sir, are there any schemes that have generated interest outside India like PM Surya Ghar or Kusum Yojana? Thank you.
So, on your first question, as I keep saying, the power of ISA is convening and bringing partners together. Give you an example, the small island developing states in which 16 countries are coming together to do joint procurement, to learn from each other, get economies of scale, and attract large private sector. We are working with World Bank Group, both on transmission investments that are needed, but also on possible guarantees through MEGA and TA. So this is a joint partnership. Similarly, some of the work we are doing on green hydrogen and new technologies is done with ADB. And we have partnerships with SE for All, with AFDB on others. So obviously, it is based on all the partnerships.
As far as scheme like PM Surya Ghar and PM Kusum outside India, two things I would like to share with you. One is, as far as our experience in PM Surya Ghar and PM Kusum, it is excellent. I think it is one of the most successful program, and 10 million rooftop solar target, and out of that nearly about 21 lakh completed, 21 lakh nearly completed. And that is one of the very ambitious target, and we are going ahead as per our target. So what I would like to share with you is we are ready to share our experience, our expertise, and ISA is already using this experience, and also we are supporting the ISA also to expand our experience and our expertise in the other part of the world where ISA, there is a member in the member countries of the ISA. And naturally, this success story, because ISA's intention itself is, the purpose of the forming the ISA in COP21 is to see that everywhere through non-fossil sources, generation of electricity, whether it is in a large scale or in a decentralized system, that was the intention, and India is most successful in that, and we are together, ISA and India, we are sharing our experience outside the country also.
Can you change the mic, please? Yeah.
Yeah, Jayashree from Hindustan Times. I wanted to ask you, sir, how are you planning to diversify access to critical minerals, because that will be one of the critical issues for solar upgradation in all these countries. And also, now that we have achieved 50% of our capacity from non-fossil sources, are we planning to increase on that or update on that? Thank you.
So let me answer the first part of the question, and I'll request the Honorable Minister or the Secretary to answer the second part. We believe the critical minerals agenda is a very big agenda, and it has multiple dimensions. But one critical dimension that we are beginning today, because we have all 120 countries plus here with us, is to initiate a program that we are calling Sunrise. The full form for that is Solar Upcycling Network for Recycling, Innovation, and Stakeholder Engagement. What basically it entails is that whether it is solar PV or battery waste, right now there are no set standards, measurement, and business models. And just as internet and meters started with no shared standards, this is the big opportunity to actually address critical minerals, because if India is doing 30 gigawatts every year, 20 years from now, if the technology which we believe is possible can extract 90% minerals from those that are being waste, it creates a cycle for actually taking care of critical minerals. So beyond other aspects of critical minerals, circularity is good for environment, it creates jobs, it creates wealth, and addresses the critical mineral requirements.
As far as the target is concerned, 50% is achieved well ahead of our schedule. But the 500 gigawatt till 2030 is the ambitious target, and we are working out on that, and I am quite confident we will achieve that.
Can you change the mic, please? Yes.
Hello. Good afternoon. My name is Elena. I represent TASS News Agency. My first question, I guess this information already was announced. How many countries for today are members of ISA? And do you have this ambitious goal, like to cover the whole Earth, that all the countries will be members of ISA? And as I represent Russian News Agency, perhaps are there any ongoing discussions of possible membership of Russia in ISA? And if you allow me, please, a question to the Honorable Minister, Mr. Pralhad Joshi. Russia and India are already strategic partners in energy, and can you see, do you see that renewable energy may become a new area of cooperation between our two countries? Thank you very much.
So I think on your first question, we already have 125 countries as members. And you know, after a while, then the incremental will take time, but we are quite open. It is fully possible that 5 to 10 years from now, we will represent a UN kind of a system with all 180, 190 member countries. On your specific question of Russia, we welcome all countries to become members. In fact, we believe with India's presidency of BRICS next year, working together on solar can actually a very transformative agenda given the market internationally.
As far as International Solar Alliance is concerned or renewable energy is concerned, as you know, as Russia is concerned, we have a historical strategic partnership with Russia. Even as far as either renewable energy or solar energy, any country, including with Russia, there is absolutely no issue for us.
In the interest of time, colleagues, we will have one last question. Do we have, maybe perhaps we can, yes, two. Yeah, so we will have, we will perhaps invite more questions from our international colleagues.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, my name is Asha Ramachandran. I'm an independent journalist, but I mostly write for the Himalayan News Chronicle. So my question is about the mountainous regions. Because the ecosystem is unique and it's also facing a lot of climate impact, which is very different from the other regions and other ecosystems. So what does ISA have any programs, plans or projects specific to the mountain region globally in India and also specifically for the Himalayan region?
Thank you for this question. I was in Bhutan last month, and Bhutan, because it has deficient energy in winters, has embarked with our support on a solar roadmap of 5,000 megawatt by 2040 with 1,000 megawatt by 2030. And most of the sites, as you know, are on the hillsides based on a very important assessment of land, direction, irradiation. We are now discussing the same issue with Nepal as well, which has actually successfully bid out 900 megawatts already and want to do more. We will bring similar countries along with partners who specialize on that, like ICIMOD, which have also a partnership agreement with ISA in helping these mountainous countries come out with solar solutions, and that's definitely It goes to the wider point that different countries have very unique characteristics, and we will adapt global knowledge to local adaptation.
Yes. Ma'am in the front. Yeah.
Livia Rodriguez, de Prensa Latina, Cuba. Recently, you visited Cuba, and we would like to know what is your opinion about the benefits that the program, Alliance program, can do in Cuba.
So the country of Cuba has 6,000 megawatts of demand, all met by heavy fuel oil. And as I mentioned today for SIDS and others, having heavy fuel oil and diesel at the cost of 30 cents is criminal, in addition to being very climate unfriendly. We are trying to help Cuba on two accounts. One, to get some of the solar pumps moved to Cuba, because that is something that they are in on a high priority need. We are starting with a small pilot, but we are discussing from about 400 going up to 10,000 solar pumps over the next 3 years. And secondly, some of the larger companies that have global offshoots that relates to their currency problems, if they want to move to solar as part of their industrial setup through commercial industrial establishment, we will work out a business model. So those are two big areas we really hope. And there's a Star Sea Center in Cuba that's operational. I was there. I was delighted how it is helping not only Cubans, but all the neighboring countries in training. And we will create a more institutional setup to build capacity in Cuba.
In the interest of time, ladies and gentlemen, we have space for one question. I see ANI. Could you please change the mic if not? Yeah.
Hi sir, this is Vishu from ANI. My question is related to funding. Funding is a great concern. As you mentioned that you are looking for the private funding, and France has also announced financial contribution. Are you looking at other countries also for contribution? And when it comes to private funding, what sort of private funding are you looking at right now?
So I'd like to begin by saying that definitely we are living in an era where unfortunately there is a huge cut in development financing across the board, and therefore this question of concessional financing is very important. For our Africa solar facility, we believe we will be at around $75 million in 2 months, but the target is to raise another $125 million to become $200 million. So we will be raising financing. But I would like to reiterate, often, because of my 25 years experience across countries, I see countries demanding a lot of concessional finance. And one of our dialogue is, if you look at the world, out of $2 trillion of total clean energy financing, roughly only about 100 billion was concessional finance. That means 1.9 trillion is from private sector. So our work with countries is to see what will enable private sector to start investing in your countries. That is ease of doing solar, making sure you have the right fundamentals, you have the right laws, right policies, regulations, and a good bankable power purchase agreement. But because if you look around and ask countries, do you have a great project with great fundamentals that is not happening without finance? The answer will be no, that's not the case. Private sector is always looking for good policy regulations and bankable projects. That's it.
Thank you all. With this, we conclude the official press conference of the 8th session of the ISA Assembly. We invite you to please stay connected with us through our website and social media platforms for regular updates on ISA's activities and upcoming initiatives. We also have our comms and media team in attendance here today, so please feel free to get in touch with my colleagues Aarti, Kakul, and Shobita, who are here. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful afternoon, and